Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, issue number 5. That's right, folks. Who knows how long it's been since issue 4 came out? It's been a long time. This issue in particular, I think, has been delayed longer than the series was actually supposed to take to come out. So that is something to look forward to when you're reading it. It's the finale. And anybody who has watched my previous reviews or listened to them, you know I have thoughts on this book. Not always positive, not always great. I don't like it that much. I've said that from the beginning. This was never what I think the characters needed to go through. Do I understand from a marketing standpoint the push to do your Dark Knight Returns for the Turtles? Yeah, of course I do. It's a marketable book. The Turtles are homages to Frank Miller work. I completely get that, and it's fine. I don't hate this issue, but I also don't think it's as brilliant as some people are going to make it out to be. And that's okay. It's kind of this thing, even when I think about like the Dark Knight Returns, it's that thing where I'm like, I get what it represents to the time period and what it means to me particularly. That work isn't as impressive as stuff that comes later for the character. I understand its significance though, and I think this issue really made me feel that about The Last Ronin, where I'm like, okay, I see why this had to be made. I know why it's made. I know the audience it's for, and that's great. But I think there's better works that could present this thesis better than what we are seeing, and that's fine. But some people are going to like that, some people aren't. It doesn't matter to me. So when we open up the book, there's just a big assault in the last issue. Michelangelo's just thinking to himself, okay, I know what I got to do. But his brothers are just like yapping in his ear, and they're just like, dude, you can't do it. You don't have the guts to do this. You're the worst of us. You can't keep up. You're so slow. You're the brother nobody likes. You're just the little lazy boy. He's like, guys, just shut up for a minute. I know what I got to do. I'm going to do it right now. Everything's going to be fine. So he writes something in his journal, or his father's journal, I should say, and then he just leaves. And we see some things happening with Casey, and everything's just like, yo, there was a big explosion. You know, the sewers are about to be overrun of water, and she doesn't know what's going to happen to her mother or her sensei, so she's kind of worried about that. And she's like, oh shit, I got to deal with that while everything else bad is happening in the streets. Then we cut to the Shredder's grandson, Hiroto, and he's just like, yo, why did he just wreck all our guys? You're letting this stupid mutant wreck everything. I gotta do things myself. So he's gonna go hunt a mutant. And we see that Casey heads back to the sewers, and she's gonna help her mother just like stop the water pumps from doing everything. But instead of really helping out and saving that, she gets really mad that April just let Mikey leave. So she's like, okay, that's going to be something I have to come back with later, so why are we doing that? And she's just kind of more upset now because she realized the truth about herself, and that is that Casey is, technically speaking, a mutant, or she's pumped full of mutagen more so than she is regular DNA for a human person. And it's such a lazy excuse to give her that ability to make herself stronger, is that over the years, Casey and April were poisoned and infected by spending so much time with the turtles that mutagen and like it seeped into their DNA and it altered her during the pregnancy. It's weird. And I don't think it works because it doesn't explain for like the literal history with those characters having that illness and why only now would be affecting that. But okay, sure. If that's what we're going to say, so Casey's a little bit stronger, can handle herself more, I'll get by it. It's not that big of a deal. It's just not that great an explanation. And that's fine. It's fine. Like, who cares? We got to make her Carrie Kelly, so we got to make her as strong as Bruce Wayne in a sense. So that's fine. It's going to work fine. And then for a majority of this book, like pretty much like the next middle chunk of this book, we are getting the thing I'm sure everybody came here for. Look, this is not what I came to this book for. I understand its necessity. And this is where I'm like, yeah, this is written by guys that love Frank Miller. This is created by people who love Batman and Daredevil and just want their vengeance to be bestowed upon the villain it is facing. The next chunk of this book, and look, there's narration bubbles for Michelangelo. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's just a grindhouse fight. It's just we see Michelangelo take out some foot soldiers on the staircase in the halls. He's murdering and mutilating these people using the weapons of his brothers to do so, which is a really interesting touch I do enjoy. He gets to like this big door and there's this really bulky guy standing there. It's a little tougher of a fight, but eventually he manages to take him down. He gets attacked by robotic crows, takes him down with like some percussion blast from his tonfa weapons. I get it. And it's cool. Like, if you are just reading this book because you want to see, like, a dark and twisted Ninja Turtle story, you're going to get that in this, because that's what this is. It's mindless violence. It is for a reason. Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo, they're all dead. Michelangelo is here to fight and avenge his brothers. That's what this is. If you want that, you're going to get it. He also fights a big, weird, robotic bat thing, takes it down, and finally he makes his way to the actual villain of this piece, and he's like, you know what? I'm impressed by how much you suck. Just stupid yelling at each other. Michelangelo insults his honor, saying, you keep your mother alive, at least she had something special in her. He's like, I kept her alive to prove a point by how much I hated her. Then he just kills Karai and stabs her, and you're like, okay, fine. So do you want to do this fight or not, buddy? He turns into this really weird metallic looking shredder thing, and it's just another brawling fight. And that's fine. Look, I know people wanted this. I know that's what you want. And it kind of does this thing, because at the end of the book, I'm just going to spoil the end of the book right now. Michelangelo dies. There's kind of this weird thing it's wants to do in this book, and like it's like no peace, and that Michelangelo didn't know peace, and that's why he got himself killed avenging his brothers and his father. Which is okay, that's fine, I guess. It's an interesting idea to play with. But because of that, I think you missed the opportunity to do something creative with the narrative, and that is actually have Michelangelo learn his lesson, as opposed to this just becoming the showdown of two men who kill each other. Because that's what this is. Look, the building there inside it blows up. There's fire and brimstone everywhere. Nobody is walking out of this alive. They're falling from floors. They're stabbing each other. They're just beating the shit out of each other. It's interesting, but not that interesting. You know? Where you're like, okay, I know exactly where this fight's going. It is cool to look at. It is kind of fun to see this, but is it that exciting? Is it that exciting to see Michelangelo just use the weapons of his brothers to stab the grandson of the Shredder in a weird metallic T-1000 suit? Is that really exciting, or is that just something we have to do for the sake of this story? I am genuinely asking because I don't know. I don't know if it's exciting. I think it's interesting, but it's not that exciting. So as they're having that fight, we are interjecting with Casey going to save her mother from drowning in the sewers as she gets the water pumps back online. It's interesting. I guess that's a nice subplot. Again, it's like, oh, we're going to make her carry Kelly, but nah, she's not going to join the fight. So fine, that's cool. The fight continues. Everything's blowing up again. Yeah, you get it. Like, I don't know what more I can really say. You know, Michelangelo's getting stabbed and slashed, and the Shredder's getting punched and stabbed and hurt, and everyone's fighting. Casey saves her mom. Michelangelo whips out the nunchucks, and he's finally able to, like, get some blows on the kid. It's exciting in that sense, but that's it. So when they get the water pumps online, Michelangelo and the Shredder kind of, like, find themselves in the sewer, and they get swept out in the water, just tossed out to the side of New York City, and they have their final showdown in, like, the mucky waters of the sewer drains. They're just beating each other up, punching each other in the head. There's, like, a weird thing that happens with Hiroto's suit, and he just explodes, and it's like a big fit of laughter, and they blow each other up. And then there's just a big explosion. Hiroto dies. Michelangelo crawls somewhere and then falls down, and Casey shows up. And we get the final moments, the final remnants of Michelangelo, where he's like, I avenged them. This was my duty. You have to know better. You have to do better. My last lesson to you is to know peace, because he just scribbled that in the book, and then he dies. And then April shows up. She's like, oh, my friend. And that is such an anticlimactic ending. I'm sorry. It is. It is not satisfying in the slightest. Because this is, I guess, okay, I will say, I guess as the Last Ronin, it works because now he is avenged and he can die in peace and be happy, but it makes it sound like he's not happy. And that's weird. And I don't really like that. It's so unnecessary, so predictable, and just doesn't add anything to this narrative. So then he flatlines for some reason, and we have a vision dream where he wakes up with his brothers. They're all younger. They're going to go train. They run on the rooftops, and they run into Casey Jones and Master Splinter. And he's like, yeah, this feels right. And this is the other part of the book where I really don't like it, because I'm just looking at this moment, okay? And you're just like, okay, so Michelangelo was happy, but why'd he write no peace at the end of the book? Because he wasn't happy. He gets his happy ending in the afterlife. I am not satisfied by this. That is frustrating. That is kind of annoying, honestly. It feels like this feels like the late edition. You know, this feels like, okay, we can't actually end our book on a sad note because people are going to be like, what was the point of all that? So Michelangelo gets his happy ending. That's fine. I couldn't care less. Like, it's so lazy. We get an epilogue in here where Casey has been trained to become the ultimate ninja, and she's been keeping the journal. She's looking it down. She goes to talk to her mother, and they're like, the tests are almost ready. Let's test everything. Let's see what's going on here. She's got a vial of mutagen, and she is testing the mutagen on a couple of baby turtles. So she's got 4 turtles in like a weird jar thing. April and Casey are making some new turtles, ninjas, people. And that's where the book ends. That's the epilogue. And that is kind of that's nice. Like, that is a nice ending that I actually enjoy. The legacy will continue. Casey will become the sensei. That's kind of fun. But I could do without all like the melodrama and just like the clearly boring homages that don't have anything special to them. It just might be because I do not enjoy the dystopian future trope where somebody has to come back and change things from how bad they were. Like the daughter of somebody has to call upon, you know, like the old hero. Like, it's such a basic trope and it doesn't add anything. But there is some stuff to be said in here. I really like Michelangelo killing everybody with the weapons of his brothers. That's really cool. I like the idea of Casey kind of stepping up into something special. That's cool. I like that a future Shredder is just a guy in a metallic suit. Like, that's fun. The rest of this, I think, is disposable. It hasn't really added to the story or taken anything away. And as I say all this, I have pre-ordered every single piece of the Last Ronin merch. So I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff for this because I do think this is something the Turtles should do, is branch out into kind of Elseworld stories. It's kind of fun. But this is just not one I like. It's just not that interesting or creative, and I think it is homaging all the stuff I don't really enjoy about the characters it's homaging. So, if we can get behind that, we can move on and tell a compelling story here. I think we did okay. Michelangelo's dead, the Turtles are dead, they're going to be resurrected. It's cool in that sense. I don't hate it. But it's also just not much of anything, is it? Yeah, that's fine though. Not everything has to be something. But I'm sure a lot of you will like it, and I hope that's enough to make you buy it. And I know the sales for this book have been phenomenal, but come on. 5-month delay? Babe, that's not special. That sucks. And I don't know what the delay was, because this looks the same as every other book. So, don't know, but good for you, I guess. Good for you for at least coming out not like ending early. That's impressive. So TMNT The Last Ronin, issue number 5, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.